Hey Libra, welcome to 3 Rabbit Tarot. Thank you so much for joining us for your weekly reading for the week of February 7th. We're going to be jumping right into things here with a full spread for your next week. Kind of like any challenges that you're facing, the general energies for this week, and then also a little bit of advice on how to overcome any of those challenges, Virgo. And again, these readings are timeless, so they can kind of span a little bit over this week into like the next coming weeks. Here in your area of general energy, we have the Three of Wands card, and this card keeps on reoccurring in a lot of readings in different areas this week. I think that a lot of people right now are kind of dealing with a situation where everybody's had like a really stable reading this week, Libra, and I think that everybody is just on like firm ground right now. I think that they're starting to build up something new for themselves. We're coming out of the Mercury retrograde that kind of like just really fucked with everybody's January, right? We really wanted to get started. We wanted to rush into things. But unfortunately, didn't quite start it that way, did it? So now that the Mercury retrograde is over, we're kind of really able to start 2022, right? And I think that everybody right now is starting on like a very firm ground. They kind of know what they want and expect of this year because they've spent so much time reflecting. So hopefully you're a Libra out there who's done that work on reflecting on what you want. Here in your area of challenges, we have the King of Swords card. So I'm kind of seeing a challenge for you right now, really just maintaining and establishing boundaries and being really direct with people right now. You have like these expectations for the year. You kind of already know what you want right now, Libra. And I think that you just need to like really be more extra. And I think that you need to be a little bit more extroverted with that. You kind of need to like set those boundaries with people around you and really start like demanding a little bit more of the people around you, because those, if you have like negative relationships that you're carrying in from the last year, is obviously going to influence this year. If you have like negative people from another phase of your life that you've kind of outgrown, if you bring them into this phase of your life, they're just going to mess everything up for you. It's you really need to learn how to kind of set better boundaries to cut people off who aren't serving you. I think that that's the challenge that you're faced with this week, Libra. And here in your area of the recent past, very weird. So if you have Virgo in your placement at all, I'd kind of go and watch the Virgo reading as well, because a lot of similar cards here are kind of coming up. We have the Five of Swords card here in your recent past. So you're definitely... I'm kind of seeing like a situation like where you're not Virgo, Libra. I'm kind of seeing a situation, Libra, where you started to walk away from people who aren't serving you. And there's like a little sense of like heartbreak and betrayal here with the Five of Swords card. But it's also the card of like knowing when to walk away from something. But I think that you're still carrying a lot of like that emotional baggage. The Swords card for me, especially in like the Six of Swords and the Five of Swords, it really reflects this idea of like carrying emotional weight, carrying something from your past. And with the Five of Swords card, yeah, like you're walking away from a situation that isn't serving you, but you're not letting your mind like kind of start over. You're not like cleaning the slate for yourself. You're not allowing yourself to walk away. So maybe you're maintaining these weird connections with really toxic people from your past. Maybe you're still like, oh, I'll talk to them like every now and again. You kind of need to get to a situation where maybe you just need to cut them off entirely for a while. And here in your future, we have the Hermit card, which, again, I mean, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about moving into a situation where you might need to just totally distance yourself from these people. It can be like a little bit difficult. If you're dealing with toxic like family members or something, you could be in a situation where you kind of just need to either cut them off entirely or even just gray rock them, which I don't know too much about that. But, it's kind of like a situation where you have somebody who's really toxic in your life, but you kind of need to keep them around. Maybe they're like a family member, right? And you can't just cut them off entirely because it'll seem like a little too callous. But you can get to a point where you just like don't tell them too much, right? You just like, you don't tell them too much of like what's going on with you. You don't give them like an emotional reaction because that's what they're expecting. Maybe sometimes they goad you on and they're like expecting some like big response from you. But just kind of get to a situation where you become the hermit, like you don't give them anything. You don't give them too much about what you're doing. If they ask you like questions about like, oh, where'd you move to? Who's this new person that you're seeing? Just don't give them anything. Just say, oh yeah, just like a really short answer. Like, oh, it's just this person from work, or oh, I've just moved to this new city. Like you don't have to tell them like your specific place where you're at. Just kind of like set up these barriers and boundaries, kind of reflecting on what we talked about with the challenge card, right? Here in your area of above, we have the Three of Pentacles card, and in your area of below, we have the Two of Wands card. I see you in a situation right now where you're definitely kind of building up a new future for yourself, and people around you see that. And that might be the reason, Libra, why these individuals from your past, these toxic people want to cling on to you. They see that you're building something new, and they feel like a little just worried that you're going to get to a point where you feel so secure in yourself that you're going to be able to cut them off entirely, because they even recognize that they're not serving you at all. Like, you have been serving them by feeding in some like weird emotional energy into their lives. Here in your area below, though, we have the Two of Wands card. Pretty hopeful to see. I think this is you, especially mimicking the Three of Wands here. This is you with like a really firm foundation right now. You really know what your expectations are. It's just hard to like really put those expectations into motion and to really practice those in your daily life. And here in your, in your area of advice, we have the Emperor card. So again, really just, you have like this great authentic spirit, Libra, and I think that you just need to like really focus on like honing that right now, really trialing like you really have like this great authentic spirit, Libra, and I think that you just need to like really challenge yourself right now to really set those boundaries in stone, kind of become the emperor of your own life. And that's going to be the thing that makes those like toxic people from your past like kind of respect you a little bit more. In your area of external factors, you have the High Priestess card, really a card of mystery, especially coupled here with the Hermit card. They're right next to each other here, and that's kind of communicating to me like you really do need to spend, like, you need to distance yourself right now. You kind of need to become the Hermit and almost become like the High Priestess too. Become a little bit more mysterious to those people around you. If you have toxic people in your life right now, Libra, I'm telling you, just like maybe just start gray rocking them or something. Just be like, okay, I'm not going to tell you anything about what I'm doing, because I mean, like, what good does that do you? You have like these really toxic people who always want to shoot you down. So like, why do they need to know like what you're up to? They don't need to know like Libra's next big move or anything. It's not something that they deserve to know, Libra. Here in your area of hopes and fears, we have the King of Pentacles card. I think that your hopes and fears are just kind of tied up right now with like moving away from a situation that hasn't been serving you, and you're just hoping to find, you're really hoping that not only will you find stability in this new phase of your life, but you'll be able to like really flourish kind of for yourself and on your own. I see like a Libra right now who's really, you're really just like going out on your own right now. You're starting something new for yourself and not for people who have not been serving you. And here in your outcome card, we have the Justice card. Pretty positive to see. I mean, this is you rendering justice upon this people and saying like, okay, you don't serve me anymore, so just get out. Like, there's the door, leave kind of situation right now, Libra. So that's pretty hopeful to see. There's a lot of strong energy here, but you're really going to have to put the emotional work in on this. This is not something that's going to resolve itself. Like, you need to take action right now, and you need to like really dedicate the time to really just growing yourself emotionally right now, Libra. Here at the end of the reading, Libra, we're going to be drawing 3 cards for 3 yes, no, or maybe questions. So if you want to pause the video and think of those questions, we're going to draw 1, 2, and 3. And for your first question, Libra, we have a kind of like a maybe on that. For your second question, I have a definite yes. And for your last question, I have a no, with that 3 of Swords kind of heartbreak card there. Libra, thank you so much for joining us at 3 Rabbit Tarot. If this reading resonated with you, please check out your sun, moon, and rising as well. Also subscribe if you haven't and like this video. And next week, we're going to have 1 rabbit here, kind of returning to form of what we were doing before. We're going to have 1 rabbit here running around in the background and hopefully not causing too much chaos. But we'll see how that goes. Thank you so much for joining us, Libra.